Hello and welcome in. I want you to hear this. I am reading a message that I got over on TikTok here on YouTube. This individual was not somebody that has signed up for my program yet and is not somebody that I have within a confidential contract. Otherwise, I would not be sharing it. But this specific message, I think, could help so many people. And I really think that this will hit home for a lot of individuals. And in this video, I am going to be saying the words you. I am not speaking to the individual that made the message to me. I am speaking to you as in the viewer. Okay. So this is not a drama video. This is not a video that is meant to exploit anyone. It's not meant to harm. It is meant to educate. It is meant to bring enlightenment. It is meant to show you the ways in which you can work through this, because a lot of people in the spiritual community, the self-reflective community, the self-development community, think that they have this self-referential ability that other people do not. And I used to be one of those people for a very short period of time, and that way of belief is something that is extremely harmful. So I want to go ahead and read this comment to you. Since you are seemingly my equal in self-awareness, I'd like to ask a question. Now, I want to pause here. When we are looking at, I would like to hear your input, all right? We have to understand this, okay? If I am potentially going to be somebody that mentors you, or you are asking me for reflection on something that you are trying to work through, in that very moment, I cannot be an equal to you, okay? Because a friend can never teach a friend. A mentor can teach a friend. That is something that I taught my students when they were significantly older than me and I was teaching aesthetic school. I am not your friend and I am not your equal. If I am your equal, you can't learn from me. Okay? You're going to dismiss me. You're going to dismiss the value that I can give you. So that right off the bat was like, I want to be in your field. This is what I'm getting. I want to be in your field. I want the connection with you without having to have the responsibility inside of my own life to be able to get it. Okay. So if you came to me and you are inside of my mentorship group, you are asking me a question, advice, what does this look like? How can I do this? Blah, blah, blah. And I allow you to be an equal to me. I am disservicing you. I am not allowing you to be held in a state of confidentiality, and I am not upholding a specific amount of hierarchy that keeps you safe inside of the program. Because if I started acting like your friend and as your equal, now we're buddies, okay? And buddies don't help each other grow for the most part. And I think society is shifting in a different way, that like we only have friends that are on the same wavelength as us. Friends can't lead friends, okay? It creates resentment, it creates animosity, all of this stuff. So off the bat, when I'm seeing this seemingly my equal, okay, there is this idea that he might have superiority to other people. There is this idea that he has a hierarchy in his own mind and does not actually see the way that he is approaching the situation. All right, because if I ask somebody something or I see that they're ahead of me, I'm not trying to be their equal. Okay, I'm putting myself below them. And the reason why I'm doing that is because I can't learn if I'm creating this false sense of elevation to be on the same level as them if I'm not. All right. So, referring to this current version of you, emotional evolvement and self awareness. Okay. Have you met others in person like us? I don't encounter anyone close. I see some on social media. It's easy to quickly identify another self-aware person, but that's it for me. Not sure if I live in a small conservative area because I'm not very social, or because less than 1% of the population have this broadened perception of our existence here. Okay. So there's the deeper wound here of isolation. There's the deeper wound here of not feeling like you should be seen or validated. There's the deeper wounds here of a lot of, truly, it's insecurity or feeling like you are separated from other people. And I think that it's a harmful thing to say that less than 1% of the population are like us or have a broadened perception of our existence, because it's not only harming you as the individual to say, well, there's no one else in the entire universe like me. Because what that is doing, it is putting you in this isolation loop. It's putting you in this position to think that you have more than other people have. And it's also putting you in a position to be incredibly solipsistic about your views and thinking that like no one else exists like you, when you see it as no one else is self-reflective, no one else is spiritual, no one else has this ability to perceive the world from this affluence, you only bring in people that attract from that level. Okay, so when we stop looking at it from, well, only 1% of the population is like me, and I live in this area where no one likes to be around me. When I first moved to Arkansas, you guys, I saw it. I saw the intellect gap. I saw the gaps of people. I saw the discrepancies. I saw how people were suffering. And I was like, I don't like it. So instead of me sitting around and being like, everyone is conservative and nobody's like me and I'm pouting, I went on Facebook, witch talk, witchcraft groups on Facebook, Christian groups that are self reflective on Facebook, groups to hang out for self reflection, mindfulness conversations in Fort Smith. Like, right? Like, you are not the only you. And every single one of us carries the same aspect of soul, right? We all carry Christ consciousness. We all carry God within us. We all have that connection. How all of us use it is based off of our own divine path. Okay? You don't think that the people that are constantly connecting with animals and connecting with nature in your conservative area aren't so deeply attuned to spirituality or self-reflection because they're different than you? You know what I mean? And this isn't this guy specifically when I say that, but it's like we are missing such a great opportunity when we remove that. When we remove that, I believe it's Robert Greene in his Laws of Human Nature book, one of the very first and the first few chapters, he mentions this idea that how isolating it is to separate yourself from other people or to think that you're the only person that exists and or like you that exists, or thinking that there's very few of you. Okay, because there's not. And I think even in this type of circumstance, it's how can you, the question isn't have you met other people like this or like us, it's how can you put yourself in a position to doing so? How can I break down the barriers of feeling so inadequate or feeling like I'm not good enough or feeling like I can't step into these roles? All right, so here is what I responded with. I said, I wouldn't state that I am your equal. We all have likeness, and everyone has the capability to be aware. Excluding yourself or concluding that only 1% of the people have the same awareness as quotations you is actually a great determining factor that there is more significant amounts of work to do. So I want to pause here. When we are on a spiritual walk, there will be times that we are extremely social, that we are around a lot of people, that we are getting constant feedback of reflections, and people are putting input into us so that way we can grow and evolve. And there are specific areas in our lives that we have to go into hermit mode, that we have to be one with ourselves, that we have to separate ourselves from other people so that way we can solidify who we are, so we can go back out into the world and be around people to show up in the way that we are now and not how we used to be. Okay, so there is this ebb and flow that takes place as we are going through these processes. There are so many different phases of evolution. Sometimes it is required of us to take a step back, to take moments and time to be alone, to take that time to just really integrate everything that you are. And moments like that do feel lonely. But the more that you get comfortable with yourself and the more that you love yourself so deeply, the less loneliness comes in. You'll learn how to utilize that solitude for a complete restructural growth. Okay, so now I mentioned my students. I said all of us, um, okay, so I said it is a great determining factor that there is a significant more amount of work to do. As with all of us, we are students. I had a client a few months ago who said the exact same thing because he viewed himself as superior, but really it was just the fear of being seen. For me personally, I live in the Bible Belt currently in an extremely conservative area, and I meet people who are extremely spiritual and gifted on a daily basis. You attract exactly where you are. You also perceive where you are too. Okay, so really it sounds like you're in a closed nature, adding to that idea that others aren't self-aware or even sufficient enough to interact with you. So this triggered this person, and I could tell. And I'm not going to read his comment because I think that that would be, I'm not going to read his response because I'm not here to exploit him or create drama in any way. I can see that this person was defensive, and I think that it hit a wound potentially. I don't know what's happening inside of this person. I don't know this person, but I could tell from his response that it hit something, and it hit something very deeply. So I'm not going to continue to read that part because I do think that reading the rest of it would be exploitive. But when we start to see and understand that we perceive other people through our own lens, and most of the time, especially when we become spiritual and we become awake or whatever, we don't yet have the ability to see people from God's eyes. And that's something that you continuously have to practice, okay? Is to be able to see people complete and as accurately as possible. And when we perceive people from our own lens or from our own viewpoints, what ends up happening is we feel that closed mindedness and that closed nature that we ourselves are carrying. So I want to talk a little bit about my own experience and what this looked like and how I worked through it. So I, for a very long time, carried this belief that the things that I've experienced in life are one of those things that other people just can't relate with. And inside of that unrelatability, because it was true for a very long time that other people weren't able to relate to me based off of the extreme amounts of whatever it is that I experienced. And I created this idea that I wasn't able to truly connect with people out of my own wounds because they could never understand. They could never truly understand and grasp what it is that I've gone through. And when I grew and decided to evolve instead, what I realized isn't that people couldn't grasp me or be there or hold me. It was the fact that I refused to have closeness with people because of the abuses that I experienced. And having that closeness with people meant that I was actually unsafe, meant that they wanted something from me, meant that they would take advantage of me, and that they would have to have some sort of leverage over the top of me to get what they wanted out of the circumstance. And if I was not the person or the thing that they wanted, that meant that they were going to create some sort of humiliation or campaign against me to get everyone else away from me. And that's happened to me my entire life, okay, up until maybe this year. So when you experience things like that, it creates this idea that other people aren't like you. It creates this idea, and you try to rationalize over the top of it. And what that does is it builds defense mechanisms. So we like to have these ideas that we aren't enough. But over the top of it is this mask of superiority. And I am somebody that I do know that I have superiority. Okay. I do. And it sounds crazy to say out loud. And I don't mean superiority as in I am better than other people or other people are not all in likeness. It doesn't mean that I am somebody that thinks that other people are less than me or worth less, but what it means is authoritative. I know that I hold a very hardcore amount of authority. I know that I hold levels of impact towards people. I know that I shift things inside of people just by interacting with them. And inside of that, I understood that about myself. And in order for me to continue to progress and understand myself in a higher way, or in a better way, or in a more honest way, it required me to look at the ways that I was showing up to people and realizing that people that should have technically had some form of authority over me were not able to hold that, and they were not able to hold their position because they had not done the internal work that I had yet. So inside of me, I had to learn my place. I had to learn how to take a step back and be led, even if I did not respect the leader. I had to learn how to take a step back and put myself in a position beneath them energetically, so that way they would maintain respect. Because what that does is it disrupts the entire community. It disrupts everyone in the group, and it tears things down because people are looking towards the person that's not in charge instead of the person that is, and it creates a weird power dynamic. So I had to learn those things, and it's not, and even Machiavelli talks about these things, and I don't agree with manipulating people and utilizing it to your advantage to cause harm. But what I do know is that in order to play the game of life, you have to play it by other people's rules. You don't get to just walk in and have authority and be this badass bitch when other people need the stage. You have to put yourself in the position of knowing that those people are the experts in the thing that they're doing. And just because you have a very strong energetic presence, just because you are massively spiritual, just because you do have a powerful dynamic inside of yourself and you are whole and you are it, and you know that about you, in order to truly thrive inside of communities, you have to know where you sit. You have to know your player on the chessboard. And it's not, again, it's not about playing chess with people, and it's not about using them to get leverage. It's not about that at all. It's about knowing your place so that way you can serve a greater good. It's about knowing how to sit in your place so that way you can serve people in a better way. People like to play with power dynamics and create power struggles. And for anyone who has been on this platform for any period of time knows that I am anti-corrosive behaviors. Like, that is my evil. We have to understand those dynamics, though, especially as spiritual people, especially as reflective people, because you claim a lot of power, you claim a lot of presence, you claim a lot of attention. In order to truly be the best at that, you have to learn how to lift other people up. You have to learn how to support other people and look at them and learn how to utilize them and show that you are open to feedback. Okay? Because it can be very difficult when you are so self-reflective and you are constantly getting insights and you are constantly shifting and evolving, to actually be around people that carry that same ability to self-reflect and see you clearly. Because most of the time people see themselves in you, and it ends up being a projection. It ends up being something where they're putting their inadequacies on you and making it about you, when in reality it's not. So this is the next layer of your evolvement, if that's the place that you're in, is letting people and being around people who are actually ahead of you. They exist everywhere, and pretending that they do not, or saying that they don't because of whatever belief that you have, is your own detriment. It's to your own detriment. And guess what? Just because somebody might not be spiritual, just because somebody might not have your same religious belief, just because somebody does not carry the same political affiliation or idea on reflection, does not mean that they aren't intellectually, internally, or physically ahead of you. You do not have to have everything in correspondence and in likeness to be able to see that someone has done more work than you, that is ahead of you, that is able to carry those positive reflections. Okay, it takes it. You have to learn how to carry some form of humble. You have to, and I say humble because of humility. It leads to humiliation and weird shit that I don't want in this field. But you have to learn how to be humble. You have to learn how to see those people, and you have to learn how to pick them out. Okay, and it starts, the very first step to this is taking everybody's insights seriously and implementing the things that make sense, listening to everybody's feedback. It takes hearing people and asking them for their opinion, even if you don't need it. Okay. That shit sucks, especially if you're ahead, especially if you already know what they're about to say. People like to be understood. People like to be the leader. People like you to hear them. Okay. You have to learn how to allow those people, regardless of where they're at in their life, to give you those reflections. Being humble, being humble, and showing up in that state of humility with people and allowing them to give you insight that you don't think that you need, regardless if you think that you need it or not. That is going to be one of the biggest determining factors if you can actually lead spiritually. Okay? Because most of the time, people that are spiritual, they think that they have this higher power than other people. They think that they have opened up this gate or this door that other people simply cannot. And that is the furthest thing from the truth. Furthest thing from the truth. Because to say that you have some sort of power that other people do not, or power over other people that do not, you do not, right? Like, what that does is it gives you a God complex. It gives you this superior idea. And if you were truly acting inside of the realm of God and inside of what it is that God has asked you to do, God would ask you to be a servant. God would ask you to hold yourself in high esteem because God is within you. God would tell you to sit back, to serve, to be humble, to be guided, to be led. You have to treat other people as if they have that same energy within them. And that will change your distorted views of people and the perception that you have of them and allow you to walk with it. Okay? Because just as far as you think that you are ahead, other people are further ahead than you. There's like a little fly in here. I don't know if you saw it. Other people are further ahead than you, regardless of how intelligent you think that you are, regardless of how deep the work that you have done is. There are people that are further ahead than you, and you have to be able to pinpoint those people based off of your goals. There is a very deep truth that I learned years ago, and it is, and we hear this all of the time, but what does it look like in practice? You have to put yourself around people that have done what it is that you want to do. You have to put yourself around people that are ahead of you. You should be the person that is the most behind in your group. Mm-hmm. And guess what? A lot of times nowadays, people are not mentoring for free. And the reason why people are not mentoring for free is because when they mentor for free, you think that you're friends, you think that you're buddies, you think that you can just get along. And it ends up draining the person that is trying to do everything that they can to lead you, guide you, and direct you. And then all of a sudden it's not working. So you have animosity and that person's drained. So the way that you get around these people is understanding the type of person that you want to become, understanding the groups that you should be in, understanding how to interact with people that are ahead of you, paying them for their services. Okay. You have to put some sort of monetary yeah, you have to put your monetary value inside of this, because you are not going to do what they are asking you to do. You are not going to learn what it is that they are trying to show you if you are not willing to sacrifice something to be there. So, in order to find somebody that is truly going to guide you, that is truly going to lead you, you have to be willing to sacrifice something. You have to be willing to sacrifice your time. You have to be willing to sacrifice money. You have to be willing to sacrifice aspects of your life to actually improve. So, finding people that are ahead of you takes time, it takes work, it takes effort. And if you are not willing truly to invest into somebody that is ahead of you, you don't actually want progress. You don't actually want growth. You don't actually want to succeed. And then we come into the idea of like, well, what if I have only this X amount of money and I'm living paycheck to paycheck to paycheck to da. You are likely buying or paying for something every month that you do not physically need, that you do not have to have. Put that away and save up to be able to get a mentor or a guide. In my own personal life, I have paid a lot of different mentors and a lot of different people, taken a lot of different certifications. You have it to be able to develop the way that I needed to. Rather they were great mentors or not, it shaped and developed me in the way that I needed. Okay. So that is a really big thing. And I think that we often overlook the idea of a mentor or a coach or even a therapist from time to time because we are so self reflective. If we are so self reflected, it does become very difficult for someone to impact us or read us accurately or give us advice that is necessary. But it is the most valuable thing that you can do because that energetic exchange basically initiates you into the next version of yourself that you didn't even know was coming. So, really, if you are truly as self reflective or evolved as you think that you will also allow yourself to be around toxicity, things that trigger you, things that don't feel good. Those are the things that shape us. Removing all of those different things and all of those different feelings because you don't like the way that you felt around someone is actually preventing your growth because most oftentimes the thing that we are perceiving as toxic or unhealthy, not always, utilize your discernment by putting yourself in those positions of feeling like a person is toxic, feeling like a person isn't healthy, feeling like a person is going to be out to get you or whatever. It's allowing you to grow. It is allowing you to see yourself. It is allowing you to break down those barriers. Because if you're truly self reflective, you will ask yourself first, what part of this person that I'm seeing in front of me is me? What part of the people that are around me are reflecting me back to me? Because you wouldn't have attracted them or brought them into your life in the first place if they didn't have some sort of mirror that they could provide you. Just because somebody is going through something or feels toxic or feels like they are disruptive or chaotic, it likely has something to do with you. And I mean that so fully because now in my own personal life, if someone feels toxic to me or they feel like they aren't quite right, it's because I'm not quite right. Okay. It's because something that they have said triggered something inside of me that I wasn't ready to hear, that I didn't know that was a part of me. And we all have it. Okay. That's the part of realizing that self reflection never ends, that personal growth never ends, is realizing that everyone that exists around us has some sort of likeness to us, regardless of what we think. And in order to truly come into the path of spirituality, the path of walking with God, surrendering to that, and not having this weird parasocial relationship with self reflection and God or what have you, what ends up happening is that we create a community of people that are not the same, that are not in likeness, that are not totally like in conjunction on every single thing. And those types of paradoxes or those types of incongruencies among people allow the greatest discussions and allow the greatest types of self reflection to take place because it challenges what you think. If you are truly self reflective, You are not going to stay alone. You are not going to stay in your own little hobbit hole. You are not going to stay in types of relationships that do not ask that you are self reflective. And you also aren't going to blame it on your environment for people not being self reflective enough. Now, listen, the area that I live in feels icky for me. Okay, there's a lot of people that are suffering, there's a lot of people that are struggling, there's a lot of people that are not in likeness to me. And instead of looking at that as a separation from me, it is a question of how can I move inside of this and create impact? How can I be somebody that people know that they can trust? How can I be somebody that people know that they can talk to? How can I be somebody that carries my own energy so strongly that I am not shaken, or my own values or moralities are not shaken in the face of things that are really difficult? How can I be that person for people? And it requires you self developing for a very long time and creating that space inside of your nervous system to be able to hold it. Okay? Because just because you have seen a lot, just because you've been through a lot, does not mean that you are a person that is safe enough to be able to hold the space that people need for their growth. So, if you are, and I really want to say this, if you are a truly self reflective person, if you are truly enlightened, if you are truly this grand person that exists, you would want to go out and find people, no matter who they are, and be there. Not tell them how they should be, not put your beliefs or ideas onto them, not try to make other people like you, but you would want them to be more like themselves because you understand how hard it is to come into that state. So, with that, I really do want to say this to wrap it up. There is hierarchy in the world, there is spiritual hierarchy that we don't see. There is hierarchies within the systems that we live in. In order to truly be a leader, to truly be self reflective, to truly be self referential, it requires that you understand how these hierarchies work so that way you can impact the most people inside of them. You can't impact people trying to do your own thing and trying to lead the way without having to also lead and also having to put yourself in the position to do so. You can't lead without establishing that there is a hierarchy that you have to work inside of and respect first. You can't change the world without playing inside of the systems that exist. Okay? You will never be able to find people that are truly self reflective if you have these barriers of saying that only 1% of the world is self reflective. You will never be able to truly find those people that are so valuable if you are not seeing yourself as valuable enough to get them. And lastly, it is this: the self-reflective community tends to be very solipsistic. I need you to know this. Your beliefs and your ideas are not the only ones that exist, and they are not the only ones that are correct. You can look at other people and understand that they have their own ideas that are also absolutely true and correct for where they are, and you can accept them in it. It is not your job to change the way that people think. It is not your job to change people's viewpoints. It is not your job to impede on other people's lives because they have their own perceptions, they have their own systems, they have their own way of interacting with the world based off of their experiences, their demographics, their upbringing, and so on. It is our job as self reflective people to hold people in their nature and not our own. It is our job to love people as they are, not the way that we think that we should love them. It is our job to create safety, to create light, to create a sense of ease and a safe place for people to come to. It is our job to be fully human and fully divine and admit where we are failing. Because if somebody calls you out on your bullshit, you don't get to say that they're just projecting onto you because you don't want to face it. That's something that's really big in this community right now, is the projection thing. Get over it. Literally get over it. You are responsible for yourself and no one else. And if you are somebody that feels that massive disconnect between yourself and the world around you, you need to ask yourself this: am I currently inside of the hermit position because I am asking, I am molding, and I am shaping my life to be able to hand that light out to the world? Or am I actively choosing to isolate myself right now because I feel that I am superior, because I feel like there is no one else out there like me? When you are able to define that and truly answer that full heartedly with accuracy, you will then be able to determine what your next steps are. So I'm going to go ahead and leave you here with this. I have a quiz. It's only a 9-question quiz. And this very, very short quiz will allow you to see the areas of your life that need improvement. This quiz goes directly with the unity matrix and the 9 domains that exist within that. And it shows you the areas that you can grow, that you need to look at, that you need to evolve in. And it also shows you the areas that you are excelling in and that you're doing really, really great. If this video today is something that impacted you, I definitely recommend taking that quiz. Now, here's the catch though. In order to get all 9 domains, to see what that is, you have to enter your phone number. I am not going to call you right away. In fact, I would rather schedule a call with you if that's something that you're interested in. If I reach out to you, because I will reach out to you because I want to hear about your quiz and what you saw and what you noticed and how it impacted you, and you don't want to schedule a call with me, I'm not going to keep pushing it. I will say okay, and I will walk on because there's other things for me to be doing than forcing you into my program, right? But this allows me to reach out to you to see how the quiz went, etc. And it also allows me to stay organized because there are businesses that also take this quiz, and I have to be able to create a file that separates the people that are businesses that I've talked to or the people that are individuals. So it's simply a tool for me to be able to stay organized. So if this video was helpful for you, take the quiz. There is nothing harmful that will come out of you being aware or more aware of something. This leads me to the next thing. I have a one-on-one 90-minute call that you can do that breaks down all 9 domains. Now, here's the kicker. It is depending on if you're an institution, a business, or an individual, the quiz goes from 30 questions to 42 questions. So I will send you a brand new quiz that goes way more in depth and really hits the target on those 9 domains. And after you've taken that quiz, I go over and have a conversation with you about every single one of those domains. And then we come up with a game plan together for you to be able to integrate that stuff. So it's 90 minutes. It's not an incredibly invasive conversation, but it will really allow you to see yourself in a bigger perspective than you were previously able to. And it also I literally will send you an entire blueprint of everything that you need afterwards to be able to work on that stuff by yourself, especially if you are somebody that doesn't feel like you want a mentor guiding you every single week. Maybe you're somebody that wants to feel that out and see what that energy is like beforehand or before a really big commitment. So I recommend doing that if that's something that interests you, because it allows you to truly begin that self-development or take that self-development to a bigger level. Most of the people that I work with are people that have been through all of the programs, all of the therapy, all of the ceremonies, all of the rituals, all of the church, all of the things, and nothing's moved inside of themselves. Like, they've done all of the work, they've done everything they possibly can. They're extremely self-aware, they're extremely capable and functioning very well, but there's just that needle that hasn't moved yet. Those are the people that I work with. I don't work with people that are still in survival consciousness for the most part. That's a fun community thing for me to do, is survival consciousness. Not in the mentorship group. I do have programs, and I want to just continue to share a little bit about what I offer, but I do have programs that are from the very beginning phases of growth, where it's talking about boundaries and attributes and how to handle emotions and what emotions mean and how to deal with that stuff. It's crisis prevention and learning how to advocate for yourself. So feedback loops, decision changings, non-negotiables, you name it. I have the beginning thing for people to be able to work through those areas. I have that too. But for the most part, I work with people that have already been through all of that stuff, and they need the needle to move so that they can actually dive into their leadership and their purpose. So with that being said, if you are interested in what it is that I do, check out the description below. All of my links will be in there. And if you have questions about anything, you are more than welcome to reach out to me through DMs. So I have the TikTok, I have the Instagram, I have the Facebook. If you do not want me to share a private conversation, just put that in there. Boop. I don't really want you to talk about this on YouTube. Can you do that for me? And I will totally respect it. This was a video that I felt a lot of people could truly benefit from, because I've been there. We all have, especially through this video game called life. So with that being said, I'm so grateful for you. My name is Michaela. I am the CEO slash founder, and CEO sounds weird because of where we're at in business and how early it is, but let's call myself a founder today. I am the founder of the Red Diamond Association. We are a mission-driven business focused on not only creating awareness, but a platform inside of the Unity Matrix to help people. So the idea is, it's not even an idea, it's a real thing. And I keep calling it an idea because it hasn't I don't think it's sunken in for me yet where I'm at in life. But the Unity Matrix is an initiatory system through 9 domains that basically reorganizes and restructures your entire internal world, and your external world changes very rapidly along with it. So with that being said, I am so grateful and happy that you are here. If you have any questions about anything, you can leave it down in the comments. You can DM me, whatever that looks like. I need 50 subscribers before I can go live here on YouTube. And lives are going to be something that are very important for our growth here, because I get to interact with you guys one-on-one and answer your questions in a way that I can't here. I can interact with you, I can feel your energy, I can see where you're at, and I have a little bit of a bigger awareness or ability to perceive or understand you and how you are. Versus here, I am creating content based off of something that inspired me. So I don't really like to just do things completely based off of momentary inspiration. I like to do things that are structured and that are truly helpful in the long term. And I would say that this does that, but the lives are really helpful. More people get to see us, the mission gets moved faster. So if you could totally subscribe, if this is something that impacted you in a positive way, please do that for me, so that way I can impact more people. So with that being said, deuces.